Is it true? Will the worst catastrophic event since the flood of Noah's time happen within about the next 15 to 20 years? See for yourself. See what you think. In the last video, it was shown that John did see a succession of 8 kings leading up to the return of Christ in power and glory. It was not my words. An angel told John the meaning of the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and John told us. It was so simple and so clear. Which of the 8 kings is alive and ruling today? Where is he? What is his name? What will he do? Did Daniel see the same succession of 8 kings too? When does the 6th seal earthquake happen? When does the evil Christian killing mark of the beast system get set up? All these are very important questions, and there are answers and clues in this very important video. Daniel chapter 11 turns out to be the foundational chapter out of all the Bible for understanding the general chronological order of events leading up to the return of Christ in power and glory. No other chapter in all the Bible covers as much amount of time with as much detail, all in general chronological order without any major gaps. Unfortunately, some scholars have tried to tie some of these events and kings of our time in with the events and kings from long ago. You must decide for yourself. Will you and I agree that other than the intro regarding Darius the Mede, that the rest of the kings are from our time, not anciently? Let's find out. In the heading of Daniel chapter 11, it says, Daniel sees the successive kings and their wars, leagues, and conflicts which lead up to the second coming of Christ. Did Daniel write about this succession of 8 kings as outlined on the poster? Let's verify. Does the chapter end with talking about the 8th king at the time of the second coming of Christ? Is there any sign that the 8th king has the power of Satan? We begin in Daniel chapter 11, verses 36 through 38. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in his estate he shall honor the God of forces, a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. This king is acting with the power of Satan, isn't he? Now, let's read the next 3 verses. But he shall have power over the treasures of gold and of silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt and Libya and Ethiopia, and the Ethiopians shall be at his stead. But tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. Therefore he shall go forth with great fury, to destroy and utterly to make away many. And he shall plant the tabernacle of his palace between the seas in the glorious holy mountains, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. The glorious holy mountain is the Mount of Olives, and the seas are the Mediterranean seas and the Dead Seas. I feel the first 2 verses of chapter 12 makes it clear that this is referring to the time of the return of Christ. Let's see what you think. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that slept in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. Doesn't that sound like the time when Christ returns in power and glory to you? It sure does to me. Well, that was easy to verify the 8th king. Let's now verify the first 7 kings and look for clues as to which one is ruling today, where he is, and also look for clues as to when the 6th seal earthquake happens and the evil Christian killing monetary system is set up. As we go through the verses, see if the succession of 8 kings begins sometime in the early 1925s to 1935s and lead up to the return of Christ, or does the succession of kings stretch over 1,000-year period of time or longer? Let's find out. In Daniel chapter 11, verse 1 through verse 6, the succession of the first 5 kings is covered. Remember, in Revelation chapter 17, verse 10, all we learned about the first 5 kings is that they are fallen. It said, "And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. And the other is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space." In the following verses, note that there is no sign of the 6th seal earthquake event. Let's see what we learn about the 5 kings in Daniel chapter 11. "Also I, in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I stood to confirm and to strengthen him. And now I will shew thee the truth. Behold, there shall stand up yet 3 kings in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than they all. And by his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia. And a mighty king shall stand up, and shall rule with great dominion, and do according to his will. And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided towards the 4 winds of heaven, and not to his posterity, nor according to his dominion which he ruled. For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others besides those. And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion, and his dominion shall be a great dominion. And in the end of years they shall join themselves together. For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north to make an agreement, but she shall not retain the power of the arm, neither shall he stand, nor his arm, but she shall be given up, and they that brought her, and he that begat her, and he that strengthened her in these times. But out of the branch of her roots shall one stand up in his estate, which shall come with an army, and shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north, and shall deal against them, and shall prevail. And shall also carry captive into Egypt their gods with their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and of gold, and he shall continue more years than the king of the north. So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom, and shall return into his own land. With the first 5 kings, it was a succession of kings with no major time gaps. The 5th king has his vessels of silver and gold taken from him. Therefore, the evil Christian killing mark of the beast system has not been set up during the first 5 kings. There is no sign of the 6th seal event as well. So, let's take a look at more information. In verse 2, we learned that the kings are in Persia, which today is Iran. In verse 2, we also learned that the 4th king is far richer than the first 3 kings. With his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Grecia, and he shall rule with a great dominion, and do according to his will. Since the time that Persia changed its name to Iran in 1935, we are now on the 4th supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. For more detail on the first 4 kings, just watch the video, Daniel chapter 11, Which King is in Power Today, Part 1. It's only about 3 minutes long. However, we cannot be any further than the 4th king. All the events of the 4th king have not been fulfilled. Neither have the events of the 5th king. The event of the 4th king stirring up all against the realm of Grecia is still in the future, as is the event of the 4th king ruling with great dominion and doing according to his will. However, as we look at what is going on in Iran and the Middle East right now, progression towards the fulfillment of the events of the 4th king seem to be happening. The events of Iran splitting up into a kingdom of the north and a kingdom of the south have not happened. And here's an important point. The fifth king has not had his vessels of silver and gold taken and brought into Egypt. Daniel's information about the first 5 kings is substantial compared to what the angel told John about the first 5 kings. Remember, in the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 10, John was told by an angel, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. That's it. Not much to go on. So the additional information provided by Daniel is very helpful. However, what the angel told John about the 6th king is a big clue that we will be able to use later. The angel said, there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. Why did the angel say the 6th king is? Let's read more from Daniel chapter 11 and learn about the 6th king and how the term is could be important. The next 4 verses, verses 10 through 13, are critical to understanding when the 6th seal event happens and when the mark of the beast system is set up. Let's read verses 10 through 12 and get ready for the critical information in verse 13. And again, note that these kings and events happen in a short amount of time, or in other words, not over the course of thousands of years. The 5th king dies and his son takes over. But his sons shall be stirred up, and shall assemble a great multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through. Then he shall return and be stirred up, even to his fortress. And the king of the south shall be moved with choler, and shall come forth and fight with him, even the king of the north. And he, the king of the north, shall set forth a great multitude. But the multitude shall be given into his, the king of the south's, hand. And when he, the king of the south, has taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000s, but he shall not be strengthened by it. The 6th king, the son of the first king of the north, has taken over the kingdom from his father. Remember, his father had lost vessels of silver and gold. Now the 6th king, the son of the king of the north, has lost many 10,000s of people in battle. His kingdom of the north has lost substantial money and people. Now look at verse 13. It gives us the clue as to when the earthquake of the 6th seal event happens and when the mark of the beast system is set up. For the king of the north shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and much riches. The earthquake of the 6th seal happening during the time of the certain years and the setup of the evil Christian killing mark of the beast system that profits this Muslim king during the certain years is a great explanation as to how the 6th king in certain years rebuilds an army that is greater than before and still has much riches left over. And as you will see, there is no sign of the 7th king having set up an evil Christian killing mark of the beast system in the short time that he rules. Let's review what the angel told John about the 7th king. John wrote what the angel had told him. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. And the other, which is the 7th, is not yet come, and when he cometh, he must continue a short space. The 7th king continues a short space. Look at what Daniel says happens to the 7th king after the 6th king dies. Then shall stand up in his estate a riser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom. But within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle. The angel tells John that the 7th king continues a short space, and Daniel says that within few days he shall be destroyed. Short space, few days, that's a match. In the next verse of Daniel chapter 11, verse 21, we read of the rise to power of the 8th king. And in his estate shall stand up a vile person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom, but he shall come in peaceably, and obtain the kingdom by flatteries. The eighth king is referred to until the end of the chapter, which we talked about earlier. Both John and Daniel saw the same succession of 8 kings leading up to the return of Christ. Wouldn't you agree? These are not kings that lived thousands of years ago. This is not about 8 different kingdoms that cover thousands of years. It is simply, as we have seen, John and Daniel saw a succession of 8 kings leading up to the return of Christ in power and glory. Now back to the 6th king. What is so significant about the 6th king that the angel referred to the 6th king as the king that is? And here's another question. What happened to the 6th king so that in the time of certain years he was able to build an army even greater than before and still have much riches left over? Could the answer be that during the certain years that the evil Christian killing monetary system is set up? The evil Christian killing monetary system is not set up during the time of the first 5 kings, because the first 3 have already died, and it isn't set up. The 4th king dies, and his kingdom gets split up. So the 4th king isn't the one in power when the evil Christian killing monetary system is set up. The 5th king has his vessels and gold taken away from him, so the monetary system isn't set up by him, and the 7th king only lives for a few days, so it's not during his time. When the 8th king is in power is the time when the 8th king has the monetary system destroyed, so it isn't set up during the time of the 8th king. That leaves the king that the angel described as the king that is. What would cause the need for a new monetary system? An event of the 6th seal earthquake that moves every mountain and island out of their places. Understanding that John and Daniel saw the same succession of 8 kings has led to the ability to assemble prophetic events of our day in general chronological order. A poster that covers the prophetic events of our days mentioned in Daniel chapters 7, 8, and 11, and in the book of Revelation chapters 6 through 18 has been assembled. Out of 210 prophetic points listed in general chronological order leading up to the return of Christ in power and glory, we are now on prophetic point number 15. That's it. We have a long ways to go. However, the 6th seal earthquake event happens beginning with prophetic point number 74. And the mark of the beast prophecy, the evil Christian killing monetary system, happens soon after that. In minutes, you have learned some critical foundational information. You have learned that John did see a succession of 8 kings, and so did Daniel. You have learned that Daniel chapter 11 is in chronological order and that there are no major time gaps. Christ is coming back after the 8th king is in power. We cannot be any further than the 4th king, and it looks like we are on the 4th king. We have the 6th seal earthquake event happening during the time of the 6th king. We need a robust economy now. We have much to prepare for. I really wanted you to know. I want everyone to know. I believe that there are lives to bless and lives to save with this critical information. Will you help tell others about this information too?